to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And welcome to Home Repairs and Solutions, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your authorized Amana dealer. The hosts for Home Repairs and Solutions are Mary Pearson and Mark Withers. Now here's Mary and Mark.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here it is Friday again already.
I know. Golly, it's
Been a quick week.
It has.
I know. I don't know where the time goes.
This week's really been crazy because my days are all mixed up, number one. And from, being off part of the week, and now, yesterday was my first day back. So yesterday was Monday to me.
Oh, my.
And it's just been one of those weeks.
Well, how fun for you. You went from Monday to Friday real quick then.
I did. Absolutely. So, it's been kind of a crazy week.
It has. And I have to have a jacket on again today.
I know it.
I'm telling you, I thought spring was here, but now I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's the good old Ozarks.
It is. And I was downtown last night, and we were sitting there. I was sitting there with my girlfriend. We were going to go see Shrek the Musical, and we're sitting in the restaurant, and pretty soon it starts pouring down rain and hailing. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And my umbrella's in the car. Good place
for
it.
That's where it's always at.
Always.
Whenever you need it, it's always in the car.
It's in the car, yeah. But fortunately, it stopped raining long enough for us to run to the theater and not get drowned, so that was good. But, yeah.
Well, good. How was it?
It was awesome.
Was it?
It was amazing. Yeah, very, very, very good show. Loved it. It was a lot of fun. Tons of kids there, because it's Shrek. But, it was a great show.
Wow.
So if you need something to do this weekend, check it out. It's at the Landers downtown.
Cool. Sounds fun. Yeah, absolutely. Well, something that I have noticed just over the past week is the trees are really starting to bud out.
Yes, they are.
I just happened to look over. I got a weeping willow tree in the front yard, and a week ago it was just bare, and now it's green. It's just like, wow, just overnight.
You have a weeping willow in the front yard?
I do.
I thought they needed lots of water.
I've always been told that. Ours has done great. We planted it 2 years ago, and it has probably tripled in its size. I mean, it has done good. Now, I do water it quite often, but yeah, it's done fantastic.
Maybe there's different varieties. I don't know, but I always heard that they had to be, you find them a lot around like ponds and that type because of the water.
Yeah.
But, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
it's just doing great. So.
Well, good.
But, something else I have noticed that is really kind of taken over is bugs. I've noticed a lot of ants. I've noticed a lot of all kinds of little critters crawling around and stuff.
Well, this morning when I was getting ready, there's one, and I don't know exactly what these are called. I call them silverfish. I don't know if that's what they are. But there's those little thin, kind of long, skinny, silvery-looking bugs that you find like in your sink or in your tub or whatever. A little bitty one of those this morning. I was like, dadgummit.
Yeah. So
wasn't it cold enough to freeze you to death?
Exactly. So, this when you start seeing that stuff, you know what you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to pick up the phone and you call Bug Zero.
That's right. That's right. You call Bug Zero to come out and take care of that. And we have with us today from Bug Zero, we have Michael with us today. And welcome to the show, Michael.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We thought this might be a good time to bring you back on. And one of the things I want to ask you, and I pretty much already know the answer, but when we have a kind of a winter like we did where it was pretty cold, and I was cold all winter. I didn't think it was ever going to stop. And so people say, oh, that's good. It'll help get rid of the bugs. That's not necessarily true, is it?
No, we hear something every winter. If it's not quite cold enough, they'll say, oh boy, the bugs are going to be bad and we didn't kill them. Or if it was brutal like this past year, sure seems like it was. People, seem to think there'll be less bugs if frozen killed all of them. But in reality, those pests have adapted so much that, one, they either migrate, they leave the area and come back. Mm-hmm. Two, they burrow down in the ground and wait it out. Or they live inside your home, in your attic, just like your silverfish. He was there, probably all winter. As the outside temperatures warm up and your attic gets warmer, he gets active, and so they're all still with us.
The little booger got to go for a swim right down the drain.
Yeah.
But yeah, you hear that a lot, different things, and people say, "Oh, this will be good," but if that were true, we would have killed out off the bugs a long time ago. We wouldn't have any bugs if the cold winter killed them all.
Right.
So we wouldn't have any. So that obviously that doesn't work that way.
No, enough of them last every year, and they get to reproducing very quickly, and it doesn't take very many days of warm weather, and our phones are going crazy. Just like you said, ant calls all the time. I mean, there's ants are crawling everywhere right now. That's probably
Is it those little bitty black ones that get in your house, or is it different kinds? Or
there's small black ones, which would be a pavement ant. Those are the ones you see that have little mounds that come out of like the cracks in your driveway and things like that. That's going to be a pavement ant, or the ones you see most of the time in your kitchen, brown or brownish black. That's an odorous house ant. People call them sugar ants and a variety of other things.
I've heard them called sugar ants. I don't know why they call them. I don't think they're very sweet.
Well, I
don't
never
like
tasted
them in my house.
one to see.
Well, I didn't eat it, Mark.
So, yeah, I don't know how sweet they'd be. I had another name, and I probably shouldn't say this on the radio, but I know my mom's listening. She always listens every week. And I always heard they was called, excuse me for saying this, but piss ants.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
So I remember one time that I was just a little kid, and Mom had a Tupperware party or something like that, that we was at some people's house, and I seen these little ants running around. So what do? I run to the door and holler at everybody, "Hey, Mom, there's, piss ants out here." Oh, it embarrassed her big time. That's what I always heard them called.
Well, yeah. And, little kids are like parrots. They just repeat what they hear.
So that's, I'll never forget that, though. I thought she's like, don't say that. So, but, that's what I heard them called.
Yeah.
But,
well, they have all kinds of names, I'm sure.
What can you do inside your home to prevent ants?
Once they've made it inside the house, really it comes down to sanitation. Try to keep things sealed up, and spills and that sort of thing.
Right.
Things that they're interested in. If you can limit those, they won't be as bad.
Right.
But really, no matter what happens, you're going to need to make an application. Whether a professional or if you try to do it yourself. But it's best to get a professional involved and make an application, make them go away, and then do some things outside and around the house to prevent it from happening again. So
now, do they? I've always heard you don't want to leave like water and dishes and stuff in the sink. Are they attracted to that? I always heard, well, they did that, to drink or to get water, but is that true?
Really the reason we see them show up in those kitchens so often, you've got plumbing penetrations that make it into the house for your dishwasher and your your sink and all that, and they use those lines that come into the house as their travel route, so they end up in those areas naturally.
Okay.
You hear a lot of people, they've got ants in or around the dishwasher, and then they're up on the counter and in the dishes. So, once they're there, obviously it's going to attract them even more.
Right.
But, if you can keep that stuff put away and cleaned up, it's less likely to be that attractive to them.
Well, I have a question. Do they actually build, like outside you'll see like the ant hills and stuff you're talking about. They don't actually build those inside your house, do they? I've never seen one inside my house when I had them in the past. You just see them running around, but do they like go back out? Do they come and go in and outside, or what do they do?
It depends on the type of ant that you've got. If you've got pavement ants, they're gonna do their nest building outside in the soil, and know that they don't build that inside the house. But like what we've been talking about with the ones you see in the kitchen and that sort of thing, that's going to be that odorous house ant. And no, they don't build a nest. What you see or what we call a nest when we find one is they basically cluster together in a void or a crack or a crevice, in wall insulation or in an attic, or maybe even around the tar paper on the support piers in your crawl space. And you've got a big congregation of those ants there with all their little larvae, and they all just kind of stage around those areas. And you'll have you might have as big as your fist all the way up to as big as a basketball. It kind of depends.
Wow.
They just congregate, and that would be what you would call the nest, even though it lacks nesting material.
Okay, I see. I always wondered because you see them, you see anthills and stuff outside, but when I've had them in the house before, I've never seen them I've never seen like what I would call a nest, and so I always wondered, do they just run in and out, or what do they do?
The ones you see crawling around on the sink and going after things is a very small portion of the total population, because there's only so many workers in the group, and the rest are back tending to the, to the queen or to the larva. So whatever you see out moving around is just a small population.
Kind of like in our economy.
Yep, that's right.
Few workers.
Not enough
That's
people doing the
true.
work.
That's true. Something we need to do.
Just came to mind.
Yeah. Something we need to do, Mary, just in case somebody would like to call in and ask a bug question or whatever they want to talk
Sure.
about. Why, we better give these numbers out.
We better do that.
That's right. 862-9977. 1-800-375-0056. If you're a Verizon customer, to star 56, or if you want to send us a text, you can do that at 417-838-3192. Love to hear from you.
Absolutely. And if you have a bug question, please call today, because
That's
we
right.
have the expert here. And I know there's all kinds of, there's such a large variety of bugs.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them I see and I don't know what the heck they are.
Sure.
So sometimes just because you don't know the name of what you have, you can probably describe it to Michael, and he could probably give you some help with what to do.
And something else I find that is really cool, if you go to the Bug Zero website, they have a pest library on here that shows all different kinds of bugs. So if you're trying to identify a bug and you don't quite know what it is, they show pictures of about every kind of bug imaginable that we might be dealing with in this part of the country. And so, great website.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, no kidding, because a lot of times it is kind of difficult to figure out. And if you don't know what you have, you don't know how to get rid of it. So you need to have someone come in that can, a professional like Bug Zero could come in, identify what that bug is, because
Right.
I'm sure it's not a one application kills all, is it?
No, our products are pretty pest specific. The EPA has done away with a lot of those long-term products that just killed everything,
Yeah.
and for good reason. It
Sure.
wasn't good for our environment. So now they make products that are, real specific to the pests that you're trying to control, where you're trying to control it, whether it be an outside product, inside product. Is it a bait? Is it a liquid? We've got a lot of great tools at our disposal, that we can select to use against whatever you're having a problem with. But you're correct, it all comes down to proper identification. What's been really nice, the last few years is just the capability customers can email us or text us photos, and we can, ID it most of the time from that photo before we even head out, to take care of the problem.
What a cool idea. I didn't think about texting a photo.
yeah.
Cool. Well, see, I don't have a smartphone, so I don't think about all those things. But yeah, people can do that. They can just take their phone and take a picture and send you guys a text, say, I have these, come get them.
Yeah.
That's a
Very
great
helpful.
idea.
Yeah.
Sure, that makes sense.
One thing that I do want to comment on as far as Bug Zero goes, I've known Ivan for several years now, and I was always so impressed with, number one, you guys over there, you are all very, very professional. When you have Bug Zero come to your home, they don't show up in an old ratty truck and you're
Muddy boots.
Yeah, where you're afraid to let them in. All the people over there are very professional, and I appreciate Ivan so much for his business, but so knowledgeable. The guy knows more about bugs than anybody I've ever known in my life.
Oh, yeah,
And-
he does.
And he really does, and he educates his employees. So, anybody from Bug Zero are professionals when it comes to bugs. It's just incredible. Such a great business, and I've been a fan of Bug Zero and what Ivan's done for a long time, and I appreciate you guys very much for conducting your business the way you do.
Well, thanks for the kind words. We spend a significant amount of time on training and learning the new things that are out there, and making sure that everyone that works for us is, prepared to handle whatever the customer might have.
Right.
So,
I would imagine right now spiders is a big issue also.
yeah, we do see some spider activity. Typically, it really peaks in the fall. But again, they're just another one of those pests that are, waking up and moving around with the warm weather. So, spiders do make the phone ring as well.
Yeah. What about wasp. You know, we had a caller a couple weeks ago that was asking a question about wasp. I forget what it was now, but
me too. But they
yeah. What time of the year do we really have to start watching out for the wasps?
I'd say it's also starting now. Most of the time, the workers will die off over the winter. That's just part of
Right.
wasp, like a paper wasp. You've seen those nests on houses in the peaks and eaves and that sort of thing. But the queen and the larvae survive, and they're starting now. I mean, we've seen some wasp activity, and it'll be subtle, and it will build until the middle of summer when it's out of control and there's wasps everywhere and mud daubers and all that sort of thing. But yeah, they'll be start making their nests now.
Okay.
So.
I don't like any of those, but the red ones really seem to be aggressive to me. Do you find that true? I mean, the red ones will just. The darker ones, sometimes they'll just kind of fly around, not bother you. But like if we're outside or we're doing something, or if I'm on the front porch or doing something, I mean, they'll even come dive bomb me. Those red ones will. It's like they are just really aggressive.
Yeah, it's something in their nature. I'm not sure the exact specific on it, but the red ones are far more aggressive. I've only ever been stung twice, and it's always that red wasp. So.
Oh, and they hurt. Man, they hurt when they nail you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm always, I don't ever want any of them things parking around my house.
No. What can we do to prevent wasp?
That one's a little tougher. If you can see where they start to build a nest, the sooner you knock it down, you'll discourage them rebuilding there. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot. I mean, they're one of those pests that fly in and out. You can do whatever you want on your property to try to, keep them away, but they're everywhere. They're going to fly to your zone at some point.
Sure.
So.
Right. You know what else I found that last year when I was cleaning up my deck furniture, they were building, and I have some wicker with some cushions, and they were building nests in between the wicker and the back of the cushions. And I was like, why in the world would they put a nest there? It was just weird to me, but like on a couple of the back of my cushions, there was, and I think it was more the paper wasp was doing that. And I thought, well, how strange. Why would they pick that place? But they sure did. So then I'm thinking, as I get things out and get things ready, that's something I'm going to be kind of checking periodically because I don't want to sit down and lean back and have a bunch of wasps come out of there at me.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I just thought that was real strange that they would build a nest there because it's not high up or anything. And I don't know. I don't know if I just could
provide a good area of shelter for them.
I guess so.
While you're looking for that stuff, you want to watch out for your deck railings too, or if you've got wrought iron railings that are hollow that they can get inside, or when you go to fire up the grill.
Yeah.
This spring, there could be some paper wasp activity taking place in there because they're just looking for good shelter, and those areas provide it for them.
Sure. I know when I was a kid, you don't see it as much anymore as clotheslines. A lot of people always hung their clothes out, and it seemed like the clothesline poles, you always had to really be careful because they build nests in there.
Yeah.
And then if you had a playground set, like a swing set, you always really had to watch because they would get in that too.
Yeah.
And but I remember the clothesline deal. They'd always get in there, and you'd have to get them out and stuff. And so pesky little boogers.
Yeah, those play sets are good for that.
Yeah,
we get calls about that, kids, and wasps don't mix well. So
no, they don't. No, they don't.
No, I'm sure.
No,
So.
especially if you have, some of these kids are really curious. If they're young, they try to pick them up. Oh my, that's not good.
Yeah. How does a wasp? Where do they get their paper from? How do they make that? Any idea?
It's part of what they're feeding on, and then also some of the excrement and saliva and that sort of thing, and that's how they build it. And they build it one cone at a time. They build that, and then they lay their larva inside there, and then plug it with something for that larva to feed on. And when you look into that cone per se, you can see each one of those cells, and there's going to be a wasp come out of every one of those. So
wow.
When you're going around doing spring cleaning, you'll see last year's those will be empty. Each one of those those cones will be empty, and then the new ones obviously will have larvae in there with a plug of some sort in the end of it. So yeah, it's an interesting process.
Oh Yeah, no doubt.
So if you have one that's like you're talking about, that's the newer one that the cones are plugged because there's babies in there, can you just take that down?
You can take it down, smash it.
Okay, that because there's no way for them to come out at you at that point. There's no live wasp in there. It's just
Well, they'll have live wasp on that nest early of a morning, and then again late in the evening because they'll sit and tend to the nest.
Okay.
But during the daytime, they're out foraging generally.
So if there's no wasp on the outside of it, it's safe to go ahead and take it down and just step on it or whatever without fear of something coming up, flying up at you or something.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So when the wasps come back and there's no nest there,
they can start to build again, but if you continue to do that, it'll discourage them from that, and they'll move on and find a different spot.
Yeah.
Could be a different spot on your house, but it's
a different eave.
Yeah.
Right.
Different corner.
Yeah,
Right.
no doubt. So then you got to try to find where they are so you don't get stung. So,
Yep.
but
It's just the red ones are the ones that really bother me. Just because I don't like them chasing me and coming at me, but
yeah, I seen the coolest thing. My ex-in-laws lived on a farm, and their living room, they had big picture windows in the living room, and they actually had a hornet build a nest on the glass, so you could sit there on the inside and watch.
oh wow.
Those hornets work on the inside because the nest was on the outside.
how
I thought that was
interesting.
pretty interesting to see that. I thought that was really unusual to see one build a nest on glass.
That would be unusual.
Yep, it would.
What a great education.
That's right. And talk about education. We need to educate people.
We got to
'cause
take
we
a
need to take
break.
That's
Yes,
right.
we do.
We do. This is Home Repairs and Solutions. We'll be back right after this. Now, if you've got a problem and you don't know what to do, your siding's going bad and you're plagued with green mildew. Well, your faucets, they all drip and your sinks are all clogged up too. Well, there's no need to worry. I'll tell you what you can do. Just call Home Repairs and Solutions. Home Repairs and Solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. A man put to death in Texas is thought to have killed a 13-year-old Springfield girl. Tommy Sells died for the murder of a 13-year-old girl in Texas. He also confessed to killing Stephanie Mahaney of Springfield in 1997. The wife of a suspect in the death of a Willard couple has been found dead in her home shortly after being charged with perjury. 59-year-old Carolyn Campbell was accused of lying to a grand jury that handed down indictments against her husband Robert and 4 others accused in the killings of Becky and Russell Porter. The couple went missing from their home and were later found dead near Protam. Mrs. Campbell had just been released on bond, and police in Purdy say her death may have been a suicide. And one of those killed in the shootings at Fort Hood, Texas this week was from Rolla. 37-year-old Sergeant Timothy Owens went to high school in Rolla through 1994. His wife graduated from the school in 1998. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers.
And join us for America's First News, Monday through Saturday at 6:05 a.m. on the Wall Street Journal this morning on AM 560 KWTO.
Windy and much cooler today with clouds and sun. High of 54. Then a clear and chilly night tonight. There can be some frost in some of the colder spots late at night. Otherwise a low of 33. Then tomorrow mostly sunny skies. High of 59. Sunday will be mainly cloudy with a shower possible. High of 59. Variably cloudy Monday, high 58. I'm AccuWeather's Kevin Snyder.
It's 41 degrees at AM 560 KWTO.
Are you tired of working with financial advisors who are more interested in selling you a product than they are in helping you establish a financial plan? I invite you to visit me, Brad Pistole, your local host of Safe Money Radio, at bradpistolepresents.com. I teach retirement planning courses through local universities, and I would agree there are a lot of advisors more interested in themselves than they are in you. I want to show you why we are different, so I created this very brief presentation to educate you on what we do. You will have an opportunity to request more information or download a free ebook titled 12 Key Questions Every Retiree Must Answer. So if you're tired of working with financial salespeople and you are looking for the right person to create a retirement plan for you, visit me at bradpistole presents.com. Again, that's bradpistolpresents.com.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, you need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions.
And welcome back to Home Repairs and Solutions, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your authorized Amana dealer. The hosts for Home Repairs and Solutions are Mary Pearson and Mark Withers. And you can be part of this show too if you would only call 862-9977 or 1-800-375-0056. Or if you'd like to text, you can call
417-838-3192. We'd love to hear from you.
We would. We would. And if you're too bashful to talk on the radio, you can send us a text. Yeah. If you're if you're bashful like Gary, don't want to be heard on the radio, send us a text and we'll read it and get your question answered. You know, if you have a question, I'm sure you're not the only one that has that question.
That's right.
So we could help a lot of people get their answer all at one time.
And if you think your question is dumb, there is no dumb question.
Absolutely not.
I mean, you're seeking information, and that's what we like. Of course, we're talking with Michael from Bug Zero. But, you know, we say Bug Zero, you're more than bugs. I mean, you take care of any kind of rodents, snakes, squirrels, all that kind of stuff. It's just amazing what all you guys do over there.
Yeah, we cover all your general pests and your nuisance wildlife removal, termites. That's another big one here in the springtime. A lot of termite swarming activity going on, and bed bugs. We're doing a lot of bed bug work.
You know, and that's one thing I was going to bring up because last time you were on the show, we just barely touched on that. But tell folks what they can do. Number one, to see if they have bed bugs, or what they can do to prevent them.
You know, it really starts with a good inspection. You know, bed bugs, especially, you're really most susceptible to getting bed bugs when you travel, you know, in hotels and motels. Also, if you're buying secondhand furniture, things of that nature, anything secondhand that you might get in, you know, from garage sales or eBay or Craigslist or that sort of thing. But anyway, it all starts with a good inspection, and you start at the bed and kind of work your way out. But what you're looking for on your mattress and box spring and the bed itself, headboard, footboard, is going to be, you know, black spotting that you wouldn't have normally seen before. You know, you'll see some black spotting, which is their fecal matter after they've fed on someone, you know, had a blood meal. That's what they leave behind. And then you'll also see their cast skin. As they grow, they shed their skin. Or you'll see the live bugs themselves. So those are all things to look for, especially when you're traveling. Before you throw your suitcase down and make yourself at home at you know, anywhere you stay, you want to do a thorough inspection so that you don't, you know.
And you know, that goes with any kind of bug. You know, people will say, well, my house is extremely clean, but I have a bug problem. Well, it doesn't matter how clean you are. You may bring bugs home from stuff from the grocery store, or if you buy stuff at a garage sale, or traveling. Like you say, you know, you throw your suitcase on a bed, you bring.
And they hop in.
They hop in, and before you know it, you brought them home. So it's really not, even though how clean you are, you can still have a problem with bugs.
Yeah, anybody's susceptible.
Sure.
Doesn't matter how clean the house or how big the house or anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a caller. Let's talk to Kathy in Nixa. Go ahead, Kathy.
Hello. I have these little black bugs. They have a little orange line on them, and they're crawling on the outside of my house. When it gets warm, there they are. And then they leave this nasty little, I call them a stink bug. How do you get rid of those?
From that brief description, it sounds like a box elder bug. Probably going to be most prevalent on the south and west sides of your house because those are the walls that warm up the most during the daytime. As far as control measure, we'll do an exterior high volume liquid application to around the perimeter of the house, but also they're probably favoring a tree or two close by, and we'd want to treat the base, the trunk of that tree. And that should eliminate the population there.
Oh, coming from a tree then.
It's quite possible. I mean, that's where they like to spend most of their time, and then they'll move to the sides of the house as it warms up and forage around. But from that brief description, it does sound like a box elder bug.
They seem to be hiding behind my shutters.
Yeah, they'll do that, and then I don't know if you've got brick or siding, but they'll get up underneath the siding if you've got some, and call that home. So it's important to go ahead and do an exterior application. We can eliminate those for you and prevent them from being so bad in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling.
And I did have two texts. One was. When we was talking about bed bugs, are bed bugs still a huge problem in this area? It seemed like, a year or two ago, that was a big thing in the news was bed bugs and everything. Are they still, or will they always be an issue?
It's steadily increasing. I mean, we're still heading up the incline. I don't think we're anywhere close to the peak activity.
Sure.
The next few years, it's just going to get more and more and more. But yeah. As far as the amount of bed bug jobs that we're doing, 50 and 60% more than the year before.
Oh wow!
So it's definitely increasing here, and it's going to continue for some time.
Right.
The deal with bed bugs, there's really not a product out there from any manufacturer, any pesticide that is the silver bullet. Those you can make an application and get it directly on a bed bug. And with chemical, that bed bug will live 6-8 months sometimes.
Really? Wow.
There's been plenty of tests where they'll take them and put them in a petri dish where they can't get off a treated surface, and they'll live in there 6 or 8 months. So,
gee whiz.
Stout little suckers, ain't they?
Man.
Yeah. So we abandoned really the pesticide part of that application, and what we do now is that whole room heat, where we heat up your entire house and all of its contents. Because heat is lethal to bed bugs.
Really?
And
wow.
That's what we've been doing now for almost 3 years. And
the
results, it's a way you can get results in one day. It's a way you can get results without having lots of pesticide pumped into your house over and over and over again.
How hot does it have to be to kill them?
A bed bug will die at 122 degrees. And we get the house up to 125, and then we hold it for a period of time. And then we go through and verify with our infrared sensors that every surface has reached that temperature, and we've also got some wireless thermometers in there that tell us that as we're doing the treatment too.
How long do you have to have the house heated to that temperature? How long does it have to stay there?
Well, once we get it, we get everything to 125. They're dead at that point, but we hold it for an hour.
Okay.
It's just what we do, and gives us some peace of mind. And
wow.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal treatment process, and the results have just been nothing but excellent. So
you just cook them little boogers.
Just cook them, yeah.
The two upsides are that they're gone today. You don't have to lose one more night of sleep worrying about what's feeding on you while you're sleeping.
Right.
And number two, you don't have a ton of pesticide introduced inside your home.
Yeah.
See, I always wondered about that. I wouldn't want my bedding all that sprayed with chemicals.
No.
I mean, that just doesn't sound like a good thing to me.
No.
I don't know. That I've always thought, man, I've never had a bed bug issue, knock on wood, but I was thinking, if I did, I wouldn't want a bunch of chemicals and stuff sprayed on my mattress and all
Yeah.
that, and then you sleep on it. That just didn't seem like a good idea to me.
No.
But then I've never
like
had bed bugs either, so I'd
Yeah.
want to get rid of them. But
Yeah.
well, that's interesting that you can just that heat will do that to them.
That is very interesting. And the other question I had texted me, we talked about this during the break, and I know this is something that you guys don't do, but they wanted to know about moles. If you did anything with moles, because I know it's a huge issue. My yard looks like it's been plowed up, but I know you guys just don't deal with moles.
We're working on some things, thinking about maybe getting back into moles, but moles are so tough. Whatever's attracting those moles to your yard, we can trap those moles, kill those moles, but we can't change what's attractive about your yard per se. So whatever it is that they like, when we get rid of the first batch, there's going to be more, and there's going to be more, and there's going to be more.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you can't get 100% customer satisfaction.
Oh, yeah.
And if we can't get that, we don't necessarily like to. We don't
Sure,
like to dive
yeah.
into a project where we can't get 100% results.
Exactly.
But we had done it in years past. There's some new tools out there. We're throwing around the idea of maybe getting back into it. But for now, what I would recommend is they do have some good traps that any homeowner can properly use. You might as well look at it as a hobby or a sport, because it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Identifying the areas that are most active.
Sure.
It takes some time going out and stepping down the active trails, and then finding out what they're using and setting your traps over that. But, if you're a hunter or gatherer, you might like that sort of thing. So it could be a fun process.
I was visiting with a gentleman I know who does a lot of yard work and lawn stuff and that type of thing, and we were talking about that just Wednesday, actually, and he said that if you have a healthy yard, that means you have a lot of earthworms and stuff in your yard for healthy. Well, that's what moles feed on. So the healthier your yard is, the more liable you are to have moles. And so you're right. Unless you want to kill all the earthworms, which I don't think you can do, that's the primary source of food for moles. And so then the more you spend on your yard to keep it healthy and keep it like it's supposed to be, and the soil healthy and all that, the more earthworms you're going to have, the more likely you're going to attract the moles. So it's kind of one of those push-pull type things, but that's just kind of how nature works sometimes.
That's true. That's true. Hey, let's go down to Kimberling City and talk to Calvin. Hello, Calvin.
Hello. Ticks and chiggers.
Oh, don't we all hate them? Tell us what we can do for ticks and chiggers.
We are starting to see
scratch them.
Yeah, we are starting to see some tick activity already. A good lawn spray, and that'll keep them at bay. And then if you've got pets, you want to make sure your pets are on a good on-animal product. Get with your veterinarian and see what they are recommending right now. But if you'll do that, and then have your yard treated, you should see a definite reduction in the amount that are bothering you.
What family does a chigger actually come from? Is it from the tick family, spider family? Where do you any idea?
It's going to be closely related to a tick. You touted how educated we are. You're going to ask some really hard questions now.
I wouldn't even thought of that question.
Should have brought my books with me. But, it's when it comes down to it, the same type treatment process is gonna control them both. So,
hope they helped you out there, Calvin.
Thanks for calling. Yep, we have another caller.
We do. Let's talk to Alan in Goodson. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, ticks are anachrids, and just like spiders. And a neighbor had problem with voles, but he was trying to get rid of ticks, and he went out and sevened his yard. And after he sterilized his yard and killed all the grubs and the worms, the voles went away. But who wants a sterilized yard?
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
And, what I have done is I've got a little capsule I fill with carbon dioxide gas, and I find a mound, and I stick a hose in there, and I turn it on low. Carbon dioxide settles to the lowest area, and they suffocate.
Okay.
Wow.
There's a new one.
Hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah.
I had the bottle sitting there because that's what I fill up CO2 air guns with, so it was pretty easy.
Okay.
Sounds like a good creative solution.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my story, and if I change it, they'll get me for perjury.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Alan.
Later.
Appreciate it. You know, there's all kinds of, I've heard of guys doing that, running a hose down there from their car tailpipe and everything else, and
trying to kill them.
Yeah. I tried to flood. I had them so bad in my backyard last year. I stuck the hose down in there, and I looked, and I had water coming up all over the yard. It was just, that's how bad they were.
My goodness.
So it's just like, okay, I'm not going to do that no more.
Wow.
That's useless. So
yeah,
but
that would be a little useless.
But yeah, absolutely.
Something we need to do before we run out of time is we need to have you give out your information so people can either call you, give out your website and that type of thing, because I know that there are people out there that's going to have bug issues.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're going to need to know who to call.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it's Bug Zero, and our office number is 417-831-7378. And we've got a whole staff of intelligent people to answer the phone for you when you do call, and they'll steer you where you need to go and get you scheduled. You can visit us on the web at www.bugzero.com. You can also find us on Facebook, and we're here to help.
And if you have a bug you don't know what it is, take a picture on your phone and send it to them.
Yeah.
You can send
can help you
any
out.
kind of photos to info@bugzero.com. And we can start to identify what you've got and make some recommendations and let you know what we can do to help you.
Or go to their website.
Well, that's what I'm
and then
sitting
you
here
can
looking
maybe
at.
you can identify it on your own through their website as well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they got a great website here. Like I say, all kinds of great pictures and a lot of good tips and things that you can do yourself to try to help prevent bugs. But it all comes down. The bottom line is call a professional. If you really have an issue, make that call. Call Bug Zero. They would be my choice in a heartbeat because I know people that has used Bug Zero and they're just so happy with them. And like I say, very professional. They know their stuff and they take great care of you.
Something I'd like to mention we talked about at the break that I thought was interesting was about bees. And what you do when you find, if someone has a bee problem, you don't necessarily want to kill those bees. What you were talking about is you'd like to find a beekeeper, someone who will come and extract them instead of killing them. Yeah,
just because our name's Bug Zero doesn't mean we want to kill everything. Obviously, bees are a good beneficial pest for pollination and other things. So a lot of times when we get into a situation where we've got a lot of bee activity or find a hive and that sort of thing, we're not going in there and annihilating the bees. We try to get a hold of a local beekeeper, and they've got methods and traps and ways to go ahead and harvest those bees, and they use them in their own hives and get some good out of them. And I guess the sweet result would be the honey.
That's right. See, and I think that's important. You don't have to kill everything.
Yeah.
But there are other ways to get rid of something that might be a nuisance. I'm not a beekeeper. I don't want a swarm of bees hanging around my house. But there are people who do.
Sure.
And like Michael said, they have ways to come in and get those off your property without killing them off, because there's a lot of reasons why we have these bugs. They do lots of things that they're intended to do that's good. I just don't want them living in my house particularly.
Right.
But you don't want to just kill everything.
They're all just insects until they cause a problem, and that's when you call them a pest.
Yeah.
I mean, when they start to bother you or your property, then we'd say they're pests and they need to be controlled and prevented. But there's so much good that come from insects everywhere. A lot of times you don't need an application if it's not bothering you.
Right. What is the importance of bats? I've heard a lot of people say that bats are really good to have around your home because they do eat insects, they eat mosquitoes and things like that. Is that true?
Yeah, they forage all the time and eat about their weight per night in flying insects. So much that some people build, the conservation department even has some stuff on the website where you build a bat house, and people like to get an established bat colony somewhere on their property because, for mosquitoes and the moths and the and little green leaf flying things that are always showing up in the spring. They're going to eliminate a lot of that. It's going to make it, your outside time that much more enjoyable. And again, it's a way to get some control or some suppression without using a pesticide. So they're a beneficial pest now. Or mammal, I should say. On the other hand, if they start to nest in your attic and you get the droppings and then secondarily you get some problems with those droppings, then they are a problem. Again, on those, we don't injure them or hurt them or kill them. In fact, we can't. There's laws against that. So we'll set up traps, or actually one-way exit valves. On your home, so that when they fly out, they can't get back in, and we'll eliminate a colony that way. So
you just need to build them their own house to live in.
Yeah,
we had some around our house at the lake, and we had them for quite some time, and then they kind of left or whatever. But they didn't bother us at all. First of all, they're mostly nocturnal, so they're running around at night eating all these bugs while you don't know that's going on anyway. And I actually didn't mind having them at all. And we did put up a bat house, but we couldn't get them to come back. So it would be a good thing if you have a situation where you have all kinds of mosquitoes and different things. I enjoyed having the bats around, so didn't bother me at all to have them.
Well, they're beneficial.
They're helpful.
I'd always heard that, didn't know for sure, but
they are helpful.
So. Part of nature. That's the natural way to take care of all those pesky bugs.
We have a question. What's the question, Gary?
I have a quick question. There's a pest that she says that may have come over from overseas that eats outside flowers, and they nest up on your bushes, and she's not sure the name of the pest or the bug. But first of all, do you take care of pests that might be outdoor pests on gardens and flowers and things?
Correct, and probably what they're referring to would be a Japanese beetle. What they do is they move in the summertime and can quickly turn your beautiful rose bushes and a variety of other ornamental plants into just skeletons of what they once were.
Sure.
Quickly.
They hit those bushes in high number and actually devour the leaves and can actually kill a plant. So, but yeah, that's a Japanese beetle. We've got some things that we can actually treat the bush or the tree with a product that the tree actually takes up systemically through its roots that gives protection. That's something we do in the fall and early in the spring, so that when they show up in summer, you're already protected. And then if you don't get on with that program now, when they do show up, we can do power sprays to eliminate them when they're on those surfaces. So.
Right. One more time, real quick, before we get out of here. Give them your information, how they can get a hold of you.
All right, it's Bug Zero, and our office number is 417-831-7378. You can find us at bugzero.com. You can also find us on Facebook. And if you got any questions, you can just email us at info@bugzero.com.
Thank you so much, Michael, for being
Thanks
with
for
us.
having me. Appreciate
Absolutely.
It. Got a big weekend planned?
No.
That's a good thing.
It is.
That's for sure. So, well, this is Home Repairs and Solutions. We're heard every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO.